Hi everyone, this is Annie from Animal Bond Academy, and if you've watched any of our videos, you know that this is not typically how we begin them, but I did want to begin this particular video because I feel that it's necessary to give a little bit of background to this group before you get to know them. I first met Joyce and learned about happiness on 4 hooves about 5 years ago. It was due to an event that happened in San Bernardino, California. On December 2nd, 2015, 14 people were murdered and 22 people were injured at a Christmas party that was held at the Inland Regional Center. It was a terrorist attack. I felt that it was necessary for me to do something to help for 2 reasons. Number 1, I knew one of the people who had been injured. And number 2, San Bernardino is very close to San Diego, where I live, about 100 miles north. And so I reached out to see what I could do in the only way I knew how, and that was to bring animal assisted therapy to the families of the victims and to the people who were at the Inland Regional Center during the attack. And that is when I met Joyce. Joyce and Happiness on 4 Hooves, particularly JJ, came out to the Inland Regional Center with me, and we brought animal assisted therapy to the people who had experienced horrible loss. In fact, many of them mentioned that it was the first time they had smiled since the shooting. So please enjoy this video. Here's Joyce and Happiness on 4 Hooves.
No, I had read about in a magazine that somebody using miniature horses for therapy, and I've always loved horses since I was 4, and thought, what a cool thing to be able to go out and make people happy with an animal that I love. And we were up at the ranch in Solvang, and they had a whole bunch of babies, and I reminded Keith that I wanted to do that, and he said, you know, the kids are all out of the house. If you want to do this, now's the time. And we left a check the next day.
And JJ was the first one. And he turned out to be, not only is he the main one now, but because of our experience with him and his interactions with people, we now have 6.
Miniature horses are by size. They measure them at the very last mane hair. Just going to give you a scratch there. And they measure it down. So 34 inches and under is an A-size mini. 38 inches and under is a B-size mini. A pony is bigger than that. Anything under, I believe it's 14 forehands. I could be wrong on that one, is considered a pony. Anything above that is a horse. And then a draft, just to give you an idea, are usually about 18 or 19 hands. And a hand is 4 inches. That's what they consider it. We don't ever want to turn anybody down because they can't afford it. One of our first visits was to Panorama City to see a little boy who had cancer. They called me on a Tuesday and said we'd have to do it within the next 2 weeks. And I said, absolutely. They called me on Thursday and said, it has to be this weekend or you might not make it. So I grabbed my friend who is very direction savvy and threw her in the van with us, and out we went to see a little 3-year-old who just adored him. And one of the tougher visits, and we just sat there and bawled. Just sat there and bawled because his head was misshapen.
And he passed within a couple days, yeah.
It was one of the tough ones.
But yeah, again,
have
like she said,
fundraisers.
nobody gets turned down. We don't, we don't do birthday parties and stuff like that, because that's not what we want these animals for. We've had experiences like at the VA hospital. There are guys in that hospital that, are mad at the world, so to speak. And we've done Christmas caroling with the horses, and we've gone for barbecues and different things. And more than once have we been told, no, don't go in there because he's not having a good day. And I'm obnoxious enough to be able to say, well, let me try. And the next thing you know, he's smiling and talking, and my 30-second visit goes 10 minutes. And the staff at the hospital say the same thing. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
One of the interesting things is we go to inpatient mental health. We go in there, and the first visit in there, I had to question, because I was thinking, are they getting enough out of this? And it's a different visit. They're not all, oh, I'm so happy to see it. Some of them haven't gotten out of their rooms, gotten up out of their beds in weeks. And for them, sitting up and talking to you is a major breakthrough. And then usually I'll find, because I was doing that every other month, 2 months later, then they're out in the group room and they're happy to see the horse again. And it's a different visit, but it's needed, because they are really the underserved. Being a part of Pet Partners, we're taught in our handlers course what to look for stress in our animals, which everybody should know what their animal stresses look like. JJ, he needs to go potty, he starts getting antsy, lets me know he needs to go outside. Anyhow, you start looking, you notice their facial expressions, whether they're going to, they're pawing because they're starting to get anxious or impatient. We are our animals' advocates, and we have to make sure that no one can touch them inappropriately, which I never thought I'd have to deal with. But really the most important thing, because you want to keep the people safe, but you want to keep your animals safe. Now, doing Special Olympics, we have people that probably are a little bit awkward in their petting and stuff, and they're fine with that. They are big, sturdy animals. You can do that. That's part of their test, is being awkwardly petted. So they really test them to make sure that they are ready for this.
It's a matter of knowing the animal, and there's our big horses. Every horse has its own personality, like every dog has its own personality. And it's a matter of interacting with them in a non-structured environment as much as a structured environment to get to know that personality. Like we were saying, Mama doesn't per se, is not overjoyed by adults, but she loves kids. And the only way we found that out is to fall into it. But we notice she's a little shy, standoffish to adults, and really likes the kids. JJ really likes the Special Olympics atmosphere. Everybody's paying attention to him. He doesn't, but they're all paying attention to him. We call him the selfie king. He loves the selfies. People kneel down and take a selfie with him.
Mama we took to Silent Christmas, which was at California School for the Deaf. I walked into the gymnasium and looking for where we were supposed to go, and the preschoolers were coming out. They surrounded her. Signing, and the teacher was desperately trying to ask me to where I could understand. Is it okay? Is she going to kick? And I said, she's fine. And if she could have smiled, she would have. She just loved it. And they were literally completely around her. They were all touching her. And she did not move an inch. She was just in seventh heaven.
Because they make us feel better. And that emotion, that negative emotion we had, sometimes is absorbed by the animal, whether it's a dog, a horse, a cat, or whatever. But there have been times when, he's letting us know, I've had enough of this.
Which is nice.
It's very
More
nice.
than one, because he's not the happiest in those inpatient mental health clinics. He doesn't mind the outpatient. We've worked with a group called Parapits Assisting in Recovery through the Riverside County Mental Health Departments, and he's fine with those. So Mama is our one that doesn't mind going up the elevators, going up
In a
three
lockdown
floors,
situation.
In a lockdown situation. You could call her Zen Mama. I think if you were raised on a farm or a ranch, you definitely, it brings back the memories. Some people totally remember and tell you what their first horse was or how they were raised with horses. And in an Alzheimer's situation or dementia, that's so important. I actually had one lady that, with the name JJ, her grandson was named JJ, and I knew that. She was always very sweet. She loved the horses. She was having a very bad day. And the caregiver said, well, you may not want to go up to her because she's really cranky. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. And I said something, would you like to pet the horse? And she said, well, maybe. And she kind of petted him, and then she goes, well, what's his name? And I said, well, his name's JJ. She says, oh, well, I have a grandson named JJ, James Jonathan. And I said, wow, you're going to have to tell him that there's a horse with his same name. Within 3 minutes, her whole demeanor had changed, and she was happy. And the caregiver said, thank you. Dolly is never unhappy, and she was just cranky that morning. Yeah. Look at you guys. Actually, that was a fundraiser. Someone else was doing unicorn visits, and a photographer saw some of the pictures and asked if I would be interested in doing that. And so I said, wow, that'd be a lot of fun.
Come here, Sonny.
We have a special unicorn horn that is not tied on or anything like that, so you can't tell. Here comes our unicorn. Their hair is not the same as ours, so if you lead them by the mane, they don't care.
I was going to ask if they probably don't even.
Come here, Sonny. Come here, Sonny. Come here, baby. Hi. Well, let's just take this off. You can go en natural. Look at how pretty you are, huh? A pretty girl. They have individual shoots. We usually do 2 or 3, maybe more in a day. And the photographer donates half of the money back to us.
And we provide the unicorn.
But it's fun because people driving by are able to see our unicorn and they go, I can't believe it. I'm working on getting a program like one of my friends who does this, who brings special needs, differently abled kids out for one-on-one time with the horses. So as soon as this virus is over, we'll be working more on that. But I do allow other ones to come out and visit. I sometimes donate them for different raffles and stuff. And like I said, they're not overwhelming. So they can come up. They've all been very well trained. They don't bite. They don't kick. They can lead them around. They're real good about doing that. I have an obstacle course, which helps with their training, but it also helps with the kids learning that, this is an animal, this isn't a toy. So you can't walk them and have them walk off the bridge. You have to walk them and be aware of where they are and what they're doing. And they get to groom them and stuff.
We've had scout troops out here, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. We've had youth group. Joyce even had a mental health group out here one day.
An adult mental health group.
Yes.
one of the things when I'm out there teaching, at the critter camps about horses, we talk about what the difference between a service animal and a therapy animal is. And yeah, I can't tell you how many people go, oh, you have a service horse, and it's like, no, I have a therapy horse. We need to be invited somewhere. We can't just automatically go.
So these are much stronger. If somebody was to fall down, you can lean on the horse better than you can a little dog, or sometimes a bigger dog. But they can do all the same things as a dog. Lead the blind, or notify, help the deaf, or whatever. But, and they live longer than dogs, so once they get trained, the beneficiary will have that animal for a great deal of time, more so than the few, 10, 12 years of a dog.
Okay, ready? Hey, baby. Bye-bye.
Come on, buddy.
I've never seen him just run.
He likes his job.
This is his job.
Yeah.
He thoroughly
So-
enjoys his job.
I had the van, and we used to park it over there. And I thought, I'd finished bathing him. I let him go. He went around the van, got in. And I thought, I have to video that. So the next morning when we went on our trip, I'm sitting there and I'm like going, okay, here we go. And I'm like, shh. He knows.
So that's it for us, everybody. Thank you so much from Annie, from Joyce, and from JJ, who is busy right now. And happiness on 4 hooves. We'll see you next time on Animal Bond Academy.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.